In fact, let's bring in Amit Shah, then technical research analyst at Indiabulls Ventures. A very good afternoon to you, Amit. And what a pullback that we're seeing in trade at the moment. It does look like it's a short covering rally. Bulls seem to be back in control for the moment, though. It's a positive move playing out on the Nifty. We're up nearly 100 points, about 90 odd points. The Bank Nifty is up over 1%. Take us through the kind of levels that you are watching as far as the market is concerned.
Yeah, so see, 11,800, once it broke on the downside, then we saw, pressure coming in for the index and more so for the individual stocks. We saw sharp cuts, in the NBFC sector, and wherever there is a debt problem kind of stocks, high leverage stocks. I have not seen those kind of down moves happening for some time now. So, surely the mood is not that great broadly, if I speak. Yes, we are bouncing back. See, but the pain is more in the broader markets than it is in the index. So, as far as the index is concerned, my sense is, right now it's just trying to settle between the range of 11,800 kind of a zone on the upside and 11,600 on the downside. So, probably we may keep gyrating between the range between on good days will be towards 11,800 zone, and on bad days probably will be again back towards the 11,600 kind of a zone. If 11,600 also gives up, then broadly I see 11,450 to 11,600 as a support zone. So my sense is eventually this levels will hold on the downside, but the mood is not that great, and we are going through overall a consolidation phase in the market.
Do you think the mood will change? Not today, of course, because of the weekly expiry playing its role, but if tomorrow, let's say, we are able to reclaim 820, 830 and close above those levels?
I would still would want to wait for not just one, but 2-3 closes on a consistent basis, and I would then also watch out for the next leg of downside, how much strength it has. So if the next leg of downside is a shallow one, then yes, then what we could be looking is like some sort of confidence coming back into the markets. Now today, what we are seeing is for a lot of stocks, some value based buying coming in, but you never know. Value buying is just value buying. It may not keep on repeating till the value emerges. So today's move does not frankly tells much of the overall trend, but in the near term the trend is weak.
All right, near-term trend looking weak, though that said, at the moment we're trading near about day's high, trying to make an effort to reclaim that 11,800 mark. 11,790 is where we are trading at the moment. A fair amount of strength, Amit, coming in from, the banking names, and we'll talk about some of those in a minute, but it's 240 then. Let's get a few trading ideas from you. Which are the names on your list this afternoon?
Yeah, so probably what you said was there's one banking name. So we have a target. See, we have I have small targets right now because I don't think we are anyway near the resistance zone. So ICICI Bank is good for a target of 437 with a stop loss of 417. Then L&T is a buy. L&T is showing good amount of strength, and it has been actually resilient on the downside as well. It's actually holding up quite well. So L&T is a buy with a target of 1560 and stop loss of 1506.
Right, going with a large cap name there, L&T, and of course it's a key contributor to the market up move for the moment. It's looking good as far as the contribution from some of these heavyweights go. So you have an L&T which is doing well in trade right now. IndusInd Bank is up and about. The auto space is moving up quite smartly. A couple of metal counters are also on that list. You're not seeing a significant up move in a Reliance as yet, but it's still up up by about 1% or so in trade, definitely adding to the market sentiment for the moment. And of course, across the board in the mid-cap universe, some of those heavily beaten down names of the recent past are making a strong comeback in trade today as well. So sentiment is positive. Let's wait and see, of course, if this is sustainable or not. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, discuss some of those auto names that are doing well, especially on the back of a BTVi exclusive, that the GST rate on autos may in fact be cut to 18% from 28%. If that happens, you can expect significant up move there. The auto index at the highs of the day right now, it's a 2% jump coming in. Back in 2 minutes with that, Amit Shah.
Auto stocks in focus for you this afternoon after a big BTVi exclusive that we broke for you just a short while ago. In fact, most of these counters have jumped to their highs of the day, and we're seeing a big spike coming on the back of these exclusive details. Just to go through, the story that we are tracking here, the GST Council, we are learning, is set to consider bringing motor vehicles out of the 28% slab. In fact, they're considering a big GST cut on the sale and lease of motor vehicles to 18% from where it stands currently, that is 28%. Remember, the meeting is tomorrow, and this is now one of the big announcements that we are watching for as an outcome of that meeting. In terms of the GST on auto motor vehicles, GST stands around 28% plus a 1 to 3% cess on small cars, and for bigger cars that is 28% GST plus a 20% cess on bigger vehicles. We have of course seen the kind of slowdown that's been playing out for the last 6 to 8 months for the entire auto sector. We've seen production cuts come in at a whole host of these automakers. Maruti Suzuki, Mahindra and Mahindra, Tata Motors have been facing shut factories on the kind of slow demand that we have been seeing. A big GST cut could be exactly the kind of solution that the industry is watching for to really spur some kind of demand recovery as well. The auto industry, though, on the other hand, contributes about 10% to the gross GST collections for the centre. So that definitely will be something that the government will have to take into account as far as the indirect tax collection maths is concerned. But that said, definitely seeing a very, very smart move across the board for many of these auto names. In fact, pull up Mahindra and Mahindra, seeing a very smart move play out for that one. A whole host of the two-wheeler names as well are on the move. Hero MotoCorp, if we can get the intraday chart of that one on the screen, also seeing a very smart move at this point in time. Maruti Suzuki also seeing a big spike. We'd seen quite a bit of weakness play out on Maruti Suzuki. In fact, 2.5% gains coming in on Hero Moto as we speak. Maruti as well spiking 2 days high. In fact, Amit, just a quick call on a name like Maruti as well as M&M. Both these counters seeing quite a strong move. In fact, just the last couple of minutes, we've seen that move accelerate. What is the sense that you have?
Yeah, so see, I mean, autos are going through their period of, post the fall, they have been consolidating. So Maruti, has been kind of finding a good support zone between, 63, 6400. That is the kind of zone it has repeatedly bounced back. Though it's not showing much of an energy on the upside, but this is the base kind of a formation which is happening. So, Maruti can pull back towards immediate levels of about 6750 to 6800 on the upside. So yes, a tradable move does look possible on the upside.
Right. Autos are, yeah, go ahead, Amit.
Two-wheeler space, and within two-wheeler space, it is Hero Moto which is trying to create some base for itself, and looks like a good candidate. It may even test 2800 on the upside. So some bounce back for the autos from their small bases is possible.
All right, autos are on fire, especially after BTVi broke the exclusive details that autos may be now moving out of the 28% slab and into the 18% slab as far as the GST is concerned. GST Council, of course, is meeting tomorrow, so let's see if there is development on this front or not. Meanwhile, some other spaces to talk about, UPL is seeing a big cut and it has been one of the smartest performers on the street in the recent past. There are some concerns. HSBC, in a note, has raised fears that possibly some disruption in the global trade cycle along with weather-related issues are going to have an impact because of UPL having a big global footprint. They're still bullish on the counter though. Abhishek has gone through that report. Abhishek, what are some of the concerns that they've highlighted here? While they remain bullish, things in the short term may not be all that good for UPL.
Clearly, and if you refer to the kind of note that has come out from HSBC on UPL, well, yes, the stock is under tremendous pressure. 10% is the kind of downtick that you're seeing on UPL as a stock. But if you look at HSBC's view, well, that remain unchanged. They continue to be bullish on UPL. In fact, they continue to maintain buy on the counter with the target price of rupees 1,220. And this is substantial if you look at the target price, given the kind of upside potential that you're looking at is a good 40% from the current levels. So they continue to be positive. But yes, they have highlighted a few aspects, few factors which could be taking a toll on the stock right now, and some of them, as you listed upfront, is of course trade tensions and African swine fever. Well, that remains a headwind for soybean, so the soybean prices will remain under pressure as a result. High inventory in US implies bleak prospects, and in case, you know, the trade deal sort of is delayed, or there is some aggravation of escalation or aggravation of trade between trade tensions between US and China, that also is likely to play a dampener. And among other aspects that they've highlighted is the Brazil exports declining to the tune of 9% in 2019. But they go ahead and elaborate on these factors which could potentially be taking a hit on the stock as you're seeing right now. On Brazil, they say that UPL has a strong growth profile in Latin American countries, and in times of crisis, they have always responded well. In fact, they have responded with market share gains. So that they are negating completely. As far as the trade tensions are concerned, well, they say that trade tensions could cause pesticides imported from China to become expensive in the US due to higher tariffs, which would in fact be positive for UPL's herbicide portfolio in the US. However, global slowdown due to trade tensions could prove to be a dampener. But in a nutshell, they say that all these factors that I've highlighted, they see a non-material sort of an impact, at least in the near term, as far as UPL is concerned. And hence, they continue to hold a buy on UPL with the target price, which implies a substantial 40% kind of an uptick.
All right, thanks for that, Abhishek. Clearly, the long-term view is positive, but in the near term, we can expect some, pressure points coming in for UPL. But Amit, it's been a stellar run for UPL. It's consistently been adding value to investors' portfolios. It's been some 85-90% up move that we've seen in just the last year alone. We're seeing a 7.5% cut today, but we're not far from those life high levels on this one. What does the technical structure indicate on UPL?
Yeah, so though I would not immediately go out and aggressively buy this stock, but this definitely stays in the buy list. Even after today's fall, I would just wait it out for this overhang selling to kind of dry it out, and I would just want that overhang selling to just exhaust before I can actually venture out and look for buy. So see, generally whenever these kind of falls, sharp corrections they happen, it may not be a very good idea to just buy for a short-term trading, but levels of about 780 to 790 is a good place. My sense is that may not be breached on a sustainable basis, and that is where I would actually look to buy this stock on the downside.
Right, so the UPL is still a buy on dips, maybe some near-term volatility, but apart from that, the structure seems positive and has been one of the top-performing Nifty stocks in the last few months. Meanwhile, in search for new revenue streams, the Indian Railways is planning to allow private parties to sell tickets and monetize IRCTC data. Sources tell BTVi that the Indian Railways is also keen to finalize the plan within the first 100 days of the current NDA government. The ministry is also looking at roping in private players for operating trains on some routes. To share more details, we're now being joined by Shantanu Guha-Ray from our New Delhi offices. Shantanu, the railways clearly one of the top priorities for the NDA government. What are you picking up?
It's been a old plan. It was initially conceptualized way back in 2012 or 13, but it was never put in place. Last year, Piyush Goyal raised this, and he said, and very validly so, that data which is lying with the government unused needs to be monetized. take a realistic look at what exactly we have in our kitty. There are more than 7 lakh people who go onto the railway website to buy tickets. Their details, if they bring it in and then they give it to the private operators who are also trying to bid for the ticketing operations of the railways, it's a win-win situation for the government. There are other government departments which is also sitting on large chunk of data, and the government is seriously looking at monetizing it. Number two, the government is contemplating, besides giving out ticketing to the private players, giving out some trains to the private players also, essentially those which run between 10 to 16 or 17 hour schedules, which is basically the Rajdhani Express between Delhi and Kolkata and Delhi and Mumbai, and a number of Shatabdis. Now this is basically the new plan. I am told that they are trying to do this within the first 100 days of the Modi government, and if this becomes a successful venture, then more trains will be added to it. Railway privatization has always been a long-standing demand, and now the unions are slowly signing in, which is a very, very positive news.
All right, Shantanu, very interesting, and definitely will go a long way to help the government monetize some aspects of the railway network. Thanks very much for bringing us those important details as well. In the meantime, some flashes to address at the bottom of our screen coming in from NASSCOM, saying that they have not received any confirmation from the US on the H-1B visa issue yet, and they are awaiting clarity on H-1B visas from the US. This is something that has become a bit of a pain point, essentially a dispute between local data storage, a retaliation move perhaps coming in from the US, where they're saying they could impose caps on H-1B visas issued to Indians, and this after the Reserve Bank of India has essentially tried to enforce their data localization norms that have been put in place last year. Foreign companies, they have asked them to store their data locally in countries where they operate. That's a move that the US government is trying to retaliate to, and what's taken a hit really on the back of that is clearly the entire IT pack. Pull up Wipro, it's down 2.5%. Similar cuts coming in on Tech Mahindra, in fact 1.5% down as we speak. We've seen some amount of recovery come in for names like TCS and Infosys as well, but definitely seeing some kind of uncertainty creep in for the entire IT pack, and this is something that will remain as long as we see this kind of dispute on H-1B visa issue. TCS, though, that said, has recovered in line with the rest of the market, and we're trading near about days high. In fact, Amit, just a quick call on a few of these larger IT names, TCS, Infosys and Wipro, if you could take a call there, because it's been a very volatile move coming in on Wipro for the last month or so. 2.5% cuts coming in on that one. What would you be doing with these names?
It does not appear to be as bad as the news is, so the stocks are holding quite well. So if I talk about TCS, it has recovered smartly, and actually it is trading near its all-time highs. Stocks trading near their all-time highs are definitely stocks with strength, so I would not go by the news but by the reaction of the market, and the market tells you that probably it's not as bad as the news appears to be. In fact, I have a buy in the mid-cap space in the IT sector, which is in Hexaware. So Hexaware is in a buy for a target of 400. It could actually go well beyond 400. It has formed a nice base for itself, and has actually broken out on a day like today when there are negative news flows on in the IT industry. But that's how the market is. That's the market for you. So Hexaware is a buy with a stop of 367 and a target of 400 in the near term.
Right, Hexaware from the mid-cap IT universe looking good right now. Let's take another quick break. We'll be back. We'll get some 3 p.m. trading ideas from Amit as well. Vijay Chopra will also join in a bit, get some views on the markets from him to back into minutes.
Welcome back. You're watching Closing Bets. Nifty above 11,800. We're up 1% on the benchmark. Along with that, the Bank Nifty too has added nearly 400 points as we speak. 30,750. We're trading above that mark at a jump of nearly 1.5%. And most of these Bank Nifty constituents are trading near about days high. But the top gainer on the Bank Nifty is Yes Bank. In fact, it's the top gainer on the Nifty as well. It's a 9.5, near 10% jump that's playing out on Yes Bank as we speak. We've seen positive traction for the stock through the course of the day, and at the moment that move is accelerating. In fact, we bounced back very sharply from those 102 levels that we had hit in trade yesterday, which was definitely a low coming in on the back of consecutive days of sell-off that we saw coming in Yes Bank. We closed at levels of 103 at the moment. We've added about 10 rupees per share on that counter, nearly 10% up, and that's a breaking stock for you right there on the screen. In fact, Amit, let me get a technical call from you on Yes Bank. 103, 102, that seems to be the near-term low that we've hit on that counter today, along with a whole host of stocks that have been beaten down recently. Yes Bank seeing a very sharp up move, 10% gains coming in. What would be the call on this one?
Yeah, so there could be a short-term bounce back. Today a lot of these hugely beaten down names are coming back strongly. Yes Bank is also one of them. So yes, in the near term we could see some more rally extending towards 122, 125 kind of a zone. Maybe some short covering could take it even a little bit more further from there. But this is one of the weakest stock in the banking I've seen, and I do even see the lows of today's eventually getting broken on the downside. So I remain negative on Yes Bank in spite of the near-term rally.
Right. Short-term bounce back happening on the counter right now. Difficult to say if the trend has reversed or not, because you're seeing that not only on a Yes Bank, of course, which is heavily beaten down in the recent past, but names like the housing as well, that's bouncing back in trade today. Jain Irrigation, despite another rating downgrade coming in, is looking good in trade right now. Jet Airways, first day at the NCLT, we are expecting to hear some development on that at 5 p.m. today evening, is up 42%, if you can believe that. So there are lots of factors that are playing out, but it is a day of short covering nonetheless on the street. Vijay Chopra is also with us. Let's take this question to him. Vijay, what's the sense? Short covering playing out, weekly expiry underway. Is there any indication that a near-term floor has been found? Because before this, on Wednesday and Thursday, we had bounced back from those 620, 630 levels. After the expiries out of the way, do you expect a retracement to that, or do you think that there's a floor in place for the moment at least?
Well, I think that 11,600 is a level which is an important level. I won't say it is the floor, it can be broken, but again, if market has tested those levels, seemingly they are fairly important and bounced back from those levels only. And I would say that market is going to be in a range of 11,600 to maybe 12,100, 12,200. And this would be the broader range in the times to come, until we get some serious triggers from the budget or the monsoon. Because as of now, there are fears related to monsoon that it might not pan out as expected, and the speed of monsoon is slowing down. Secondly, there's a huge fear on the screen. If you look at companies, seemingly there's a lot of fear. So today I see more of it as a short covering, because markets were in the oversold zone. But yes, I think that there is a lot which the government needs to do in the budget. There are expectations in the budget. This could be the starting of a pre-budget rally which can propel the markets to 12,200 odd. But I think that things are not very good on the ground. The SME segment is not doing well. The NBFC segment is not going. There are intrinsic problems in the banking system. So the money has to flow. The companies or the companies who are working on the ground need capital, and that capital needs to flow either from banks or NBFCs. And if we see half our NBFCs dying, then things could be really sketchy. Apart from that, there is a major problem related to DHFL. This is a systemic issue. We have seen ILFS 6-7 months back, and now there is DHFL. Both of them combined have wiped out close to 2 lakh crores from the market. So again, it is a worrisome picture
from where will this 2 lakh crores come? There is a recourse which the government is taking. Some of the ILFS officials have been arrested, and maybe something might happen with DHFL as well. But again, companies are dying. We've seen the death of Jet Airways, literally, one of the best airlines. All of us used to like traveling in Jet Airways, and now it is grounded and abysmally low. It is available at abysmally low valuations. So I am kind of worried that what is happening to the economy, and the government is expected to come to the rescue, and my expectations of budget are much higher. The government has to solve the systemic liquidity issues, the employment issues, and of course related thing is increased consumption. If at all India loses its consumption story, a lot of foreign money is going to be pulled back. So again, to maintain our position as a growth driver in the global economy, I think there are certain serious steps which need to be taken.
All right, looking for decisive steps to boost consumption for the country. The market at the moment is at days high, but of course a note of caution coming in there from Vijay as far as how sustainable a positive move in the Indian market would be, with the kind of concerns that many sectors are facing at the moment. Amit, let's get a few trading ideas from you then. It's past 3 p.m. Market definitely seems to be looking good as we enter the last 20 minutes or so of trade. Which are the stocks that are catching your eye?
Yeah, so one I already shared with you while we spoke about the IT. So Hexaware is one with for a target of 400 and stop loss of 367. Another one is again from of course a different side of an IT, but Just Dial. So Just Dial is looking good for a target of 775 with a stop loss of 728. I'll give you one more, that is Titan. Titan looks good for targets of 1340 on the upside. And I'll keep a stop below 1284 in the near term. See, actually this is just a trading target for Titan, but actually we could see a big move coming in for the Titan. It's coinciding with the gold breaking out from 4-5 year kind of a range on the upside. So I think Titan stands to remain a beneficiary for the rising gold prices, for the kind of inventory it holds. So probably it's also kind of confirming from that side as well. So Titan could be something one needs to watch out, not just for the day, but over the course of next time. I mean, in the near term.
Absolutely, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it is a life high that we are seeing on Titan in trade today as well, 1300 plus coming in on the counter. In fact, Vijay, interesting stock Titan. We've spoken about this before as well. Yesterday there was that bullish report by UBS talking of a near-term target of 1600, and if all goes well, then possibly even 1800 on the counter. Does it justify that, or is it getting a little overheated because the stock is already up over 40% in the last 1 year in a market that has largely been under pressure, very concentrated at least? What's the sense on Titan? Will it be able to sustain this performance?
Well, I think the market has rewarded the quality names, and Titan is one of the quality names, although it is very strongly related to the consumption story. But yes, valuations are getting a bit expensive. But if at all Titan keeps on posting good results quarter on quarter, I think that these valuations can be comfortably stretched, and the market won't worry about it because if at all, and it also happens that generally the larger stocks are not in hands of a lot of people. So there are few hands holding it, and Titan is a quality name, and the company which has been doing well year on year, quarter on quarter, people keep on holding it. Yes, there are good reports regarding Titan, but yes, valuations are getting stretched. There might be a bit of a fall, but not to worry. I am sure that this company can come back. So that 1600 target for UBS or whichever foreign brokerage is quite plausible.
All right, 1600 quite plausible on Titan. Definitely seeing a very smart move, and it's a fresh life highs coming in for that counter in trade at the moment. One of the consumption facing spaces, Vijay, that's really making a comeback today is auto. The fundamentals haven't quite changed for this one, but a few elements that really could add to positive sentiment in the space. One is the big GST Council meeting. The next one, that's tomorrow, or maybe another one down the line. Some exclusive details that we've picked up is that we could see, cars, vehicles, essentially motor vehicles, vehicles move from the 28% slab to the 18% slab, and this has been a long-standing demand of the industry. Would really go a long way to help spur some kind of demand in this space. Of course, along with that, any kind of easing that we see coming in on the budget for the liquidity scenario will also be good news for the auto space. With that in mind, would you be looking to change your view slightly longer term on auto? What would you be liking in the space as well? What do you expect will lead the recovery story in auto?
Well, I think that Mahindra and Mahindra is one stock which I like in auto, because you get the flavor of all the three things. Number one, you get a dash of rural markets due to the tractor business. You get cars and SUVs, which is urban market, and the future business, which is EVs. So Mahindra is one company which has been working on EVs, and they did take over the Mani Precision venture, which was Reva. So they've been working since a number of years, and yes, they are also very seriously into the CV business. So overall, if you look at the picture, Mahindra has quite a diversified portfolio, which makes it one of the best stocks to pick in the entire auto space, and the valuations are also quite convincing, around 620 odd. I don't think that the valuations are stretched. So my best pick would be Mahindra and Mahindra for sure.
Right, M&M would be a good pick. It's been struggling a little though. Having said that, M&M has been one of the stocks that underperformed even at a time when auto stocks were doing well. Amit, from a level of 900, we've seen a drawdown now holding above 600 on an M&M. The recent low, of course, is at around 610. What's the sense? Is it looking a little oversold right now? Could there be a case of this technical pullback in M&M extending to some decent levels?
Yeah, I mean, there could always be a pullback, especially from levels which have been holding repeatedly, and which is what even is happening with Maruti and So after the sharp fall that we have seen across the auto sector, a lot of them have moved sideways and are sort of making a small base for itself. So yes, from a trading perspective, it's been finding its feet somewhere around that 600 zone. So a move towards 650, 660 is possible on the upside. But as of now, I would not read much beyond that. I would just wait largely of what's happening with the auto sector, look at the overall trends to take a bigger call. Right now, it's just a trading play.
Alright, just a trading play for the moment, but most of these stocks trading at days high. In fact, the market too trading at a fresh days high. 11,840 nearly is where we are at the moment. Bank Nifty's added 450 points in today's trading session. Let's take that final break, then we'll come back, discuss a few of the stocks that are continuing to gain momentum. Also get a few BTST or STBT ideas from Amit. Stay tuned, we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Welcome back. Final 15 minutes of trade on Dalal Street. You are at the highest point of the day on the Nifty. It's a 150 point pullback that we've seen in trade today. 11,840 is where we are at. The Bank Nifty is up nearly 450 points as well. The Sensex is up over 500 points. All sectors barring a couple of the defensive names in IT and FMCG. In fact, even those sectors are now back in positive territory. So all sectors on the street are trading with a strong positive bias, led by pharma, PSU banks, autos, infra, real estate, as well as the metal basket. It's shaping up to be a strong day of trade. Weekly expiry also playing its role here. Amit, last 10 minutes or so of trade, any final BTST or STBT calls that you have for us?
Yes, so I would look to buy a Shriram Transport Finance at current market price. I'll keep a stop of 1076 and play it for targets of 1130 on the upside. So that's one trading call in the near term. Also, it may not be exactly a BTST, but something like a 2-3 day kind of a move. Godrej Properties is looking good for target of 1030. One can keep a stop of 957 for Godrej Properties.
All right, so that's Shriram Transport as well as Godrej Properties, a couple of names to keep on your radar. In fact, Vijay, it's a stellar move that we've been seeing play out for a name like Godrej Properties. Once again, you know, a bit of consolidation after the kind of run that we'd seen. Today, it's up 6%. Also seeing good traction across the board for various other realty names. If you talk about DLF, if you talk about, you know, most of these counters, in fact, are doing fairly well. Let me get your top picks. What would be the strategy as far as real estate goes?
So as I told you, you know, my expectation is from the budget that there is something to be done for increasing the disposable incomes in the hands of people and reviving these sectors which provide widespread employment. You know, why we are seeing you know, such huge unemployment, which is at a 45-year low, because real estate as a sector, infra as a sector, you know, this was a huge employer for a lot, for a very big workforce, and somehow, you know, these sectors have come dowsing down. The other sector is telecom. So again, you know, I think that there has to be some kind of a revival for the real estate space, and if you ask me, my top pick would be DLF, followed by Sobha, followed by Brigade and Oberoi Realty, and of course Godrej Properties. You know, these are good names which are you know, not that high on debt. And of course RERA compliant, because you know, RERA is something which has killed a lot of builders in the recent past. So I would say that you know, these builders, if you want to buy into the real estate space, buy only those companies which are top rank companies. So I would prefer a Sobha or a DLF or an Ajmera or maybe a Oberoi Realty over any other smaller builder. So don't get into the frenzy of buying smaller names. If somebody wants to get into real estate, these should be the names they should be in.
Absolutely. Quality real estate names is where the allocation should be as far as the movement is concerned. In fact, we had a chance to speak with the management of DLF earlier today. Debt reduction is definitely on their agenda. They are rejigging some other business operations to bring in cost efficiencies as well. Let's hear out a couple of those comments.
The debt, as you know, at the end of FY19 was a number of about 4,500 crores. In addition to that, we had about 800 crores of land liabilities. So the total liability external that we had was about just north of 5,000 crores. We expect this number by the end of March 20 to be a number just around 2,000 crores. We believe that in about a 3 years to 4 years cycle, this entire inventory should be liquidated successfully. Even in the years when generally the industry was stressed and sales were down, we did not stop or slow down our construction pace. So in some segments of the industry, it led to unfinished inventory. We complete the inventory because we knew that when the market will turn, hopefully the complete inventory is the one which should find ready takers, which is what is happening.
Well, that's the view from the management of DLF, 3% up as we speak. Most realty stocks are holding their own in the current market, including the likes of Indiabulls Real Estate that was heavily beaten down. Most of these Indiabulls Group stocks, in fact, are seeing a very, very smart sort of reversal in trade as we speak. Indiabulls Housing, one of the top nifty gainers. It's a near 8% up move, Amit, that's playing out on this one, and we're back near those 600 levels on Indiabulls Housing. A lot of news that's factoring into the move that we're seeing here, but talk to us about, you know, whether or not you expect this kind of pullback to sustain much longer, and what are the levels that you are tracking?
I'm so sorry, for the compliance reasons I cannot speak on any of the group stocks.
All right, understood, Amit. In fact, same question to you, Vijay, and we've seen some amount of strength coming in from the management commentary in terms of buying back the NCDs that are maturing in July and August. That's something that the market is definitely giving a thumbs up to. But slightly longer term, is this a space that you are interested in? What would you be doing with Indiabulls stocks, if at all?
I would prefer to stay away because, you know, a stock with such wild moves. Yesterday we saw a low of about 490 odd. Today it's trading at 600. Although this gives a lot of confidence that the company is buying NCDs, and there is no liquidity issue, so to say, which was expected. So this brings a lot of strength and credibility to the company. But again, you know, if you look at the entire picture and, you know, retail investors, can people handle such volatility? This is the question. This might be possible with institutions who have deep pockets, but I don't think that retail investors have this kind of an appetite to see a 200-300 point move within few days. and stay invested. So better to stay away. This is the recommendation for retail investors. And yes, I would definitely say that this is a silver lining, that the company has showed confidence and offered that they are going to buy the NCDs back.
Right. Definitely adds to confidence on the street, and you are seeing that recovery play out on Indiabulls, on a DHFL as well in today's trading session. And of course, Yes Bank is front and center top gainer on the Nifty with 11% jump coming in on that one. So good days for these names. Vijay, have you looked at the story of the Apollo Hospitals, Apollo Munich, HDFC Ergo deal? Two questions here. Eventually, of course, they may look at a listing and creates a health insurance giant. But in terms of Apollo Hospitals, the fact that, they insist that at least it's not a stressed sale, it's a strategic sale, and they will be redeploying towards their core business, so there will be a bigger focus on the hospital business. In our recent interaction in the management also, we got a sense that the newer hospitals are breaking even faster than they have in the past and seem to be doing well. The stock has already run up, but is there merit in Apollo Hospitals right now?
Well, I think that India is a healthcare starved country. If you look at the nooks and crannies of the of our large country, barring the urban part, I don't think there are even good hospitals in maybe 100 villages or maybe good smaller towns and talukas. So definitely there is a case for good companies like Apollo Hospital. But again, I would look at it with a longer term perspective, that these companies can be potential multi-baggers of the future if they do not have any corporate governance issues like what we saw in the Fortis case. So I think that Apollo is a fairly good company, but it's a portfolio stock. It's not a stock which can give you instant returns, or you can trade in it. So I would say that Apollo is a decent company to have in a portfolio. Till date, it's been a number of years since they've been operating, and we have not listened to anything which is wrong. The merging of the insurance entity, I think that again, insurance is one area where India really needs a lot of penetration in it, especially in the tier 2 and 3 towns. And this behemoth which they have created, this is going to be a force to reckon with in the insurance space. And I think that this must make a strategic sense to have a larger entity by acquisition of a new company.
Right. That's on insurance. I just want to pull up a Jet Airways. It's up 120%. In fact, we're seeing very, very wild swings. Let's just try and pull up an intraday on Jet Airways as well. We're seeing extreme wild swings on this counter, 145%, 150%, now 127%. It's not even moving in single basis points anymore. It's moving in double-digit percentage gains as far as we are concerned. Amit, I know it's very difficult to take a call on stock like this, but look at the short covering rally that's fueling the move here from 25 rupees in the morning. That stock is at 75 right now. Have you ever seen a move like this? Just decode the action that's going on. Is it purely short covering, or is something else at play?
I would say I am completely surprised with this kind of move, because in my life I have been in market for a long time, but I have not seen the stock moving up more than 100% in a day. So I mean, it has shocked me, see, you cannot take a call here. I mean, of course, that if we just exclude today's day, the trend has been severely on the downside, negative. I mean, and it probably moves a lot on the news flow. So probably something is coming, is what my sense is, and that's why we are seeing such aggressive buying happening. I think there would be some news flow happening shortly. Some probably people closer to the development are aware of it, and they're propelling the stock and aggressively buying the stock.
Absolutely. Let's in fact get in BTVi's Priyanka here on the developments in Jet. Priyanka, we are awaiting the NCLT's observations at 5 today, but is there any update, anything that market is picking up on that explains this 120% plus percentage point jump on Jet?
Well, in fact, Devanshu, if you see what happened in the court, the judges gave a clear indication because when the employees and the pilots, they also came and made the presentation, said that we also want to be a part to this petition filed by SBI. The judges made it clear that yes, it will be good for the employees if this gets filed and if it goes through. So we are hoping, the understanding is that it will get accepted and admitted to NCLT, but we will have to wait till 5 o'clock. Apart from that, no other discussions have happened. The only intervention that was there was from the trustees of the operational creditors based in Netherlands. They have said that there are proceedings going on in Netherlands also, so it shouldn't be repeated in India. But NCLT has made it clear that there is no jurisdiction that Netherlands court has on Jet Airways because it is listed in India. But all eyes now, of course, with the reaction of the stock will be on what the NCLT says and if there are any parallel developments happening that we are not aware of. But mostly it is the NCLT judgment that we are looking at.
All right, clearly awaiting the NCLT judgment. The developments have been thick and fast as far as Jet Airways is concerned. Remember, yesterday was the first mentioning after the lenders have taken Jet Airways to the NCLT, giving up on the outside of court bidding route. And of course, today was the first hearing. We will have that order coming in post-market hours around 5 p.m. In fact, is when we are waiting that. Some details coming in, comments on Jet Airways, perhaps unrelated to the kind of rally that we're seeing on the stock at the moment, coming in from the Aviation Ministry officials saying that they will next review the allocation of Jet's overseas rights in early October. That does give us a bit of a timeline, and local carriers are to fly on Jet's overseas routes, negotiating slots in foreign airports, and they may soon update the flying schedule to reflect the new overseas flights, perhaps again coming in for other airlines. But that really doesn't explain the 120% jump that we're seeing play out on Jet Airways. Perhaps some kind of good news is what we are awaiting as far as Jet Airways is concerned.
Right. In fact, Manish Sharma from Derivative Trading Academy is also with us. Manish, we're just discussing this stock. Have you ever seen a move like this? What explains a 120% jump in in a couple of minutes on the counter? Manish, can you hear me?
Yes. Overall, if you see today's trading session, it is purely a short-term rally. But overall chart structure looks very weak. We might see a short-term rally of around 100 to 120 levels because the fall was very sharper and faster. So obviously short-term rally will also be sharper and faster. But overall the view is still bearish and we may expect sharp fall in the upcoming trading sessions. Temporary short covering rally can be seen around till 100 levels, but that level will be a very good for a shorting trade, short opportunity for traders. Overall view is still bearish.
If you look at the candles here, there's a big volume breakout as well. Of course, we'll get the delivery data a little later. Seems to be primarily short covering right now. But what's the sense, on a follow-on day, what happens when you see a move like this, Manish, usually?
See, if you see overall structure on a longer time frame, the fall is very sharp, right? So obviously short-term rally will also be a sharper, and it is just a technical retracement. This retracement can be extended up to 100 to 120 odd levels. So we might see another 40 to 45 rupees rally.
All right, so clearly this move can take us to about 100 is the view coming in from Manish. We have Chandan Taparia of MOSL joining in as well. Chandan, a 120% jump fling out on Jet Airways from 25 is where we closed and opened this morning. In fact, we're now at 73 on that counter. What do you make of this move? Where can you see this rally take us?
Yes, the stock which has continuously making lower top, lower bottom formation today got information that NCLT reserves order on SBI insolvency plea against Jet Airways, and I think the order might be around 5 p.m. and because of that the stock has seen sharp short covering. The open interest fell down by around 8 to 10% from short built up to short covering, which indicates that covering can take it to higher levels. And again, the stock has already corrected by more than 70-80% in this month, and as it has gone into the oversold territory, some strong recovery was seen in the counter. So I think the way it has recovered, some more short covering could be seen till it holds above 55 zone. The stock has again potential to bounce towards 95 to 100 zone as of now.
Right. Chandan, stay with us. I have a couple of questions for you. Vijay Chopra, just come in on this one. Again, you've also been a long-time participant of the market. What explains 120% jump? Is it purely technical factors at play, or do you think market is factoring in possibly some kind of positive development? I don't know what that is when the order comes out at 5 today. Maybe some kind of a moratorium, maybe some kind of an indication that all hope is not lost as far as the resolution goes. I mean, this purely can't just be punting or short covering, right?
Well, there could be somebody which knows what's happening in the NCLT meeting and who is doing this kind of heavy buying. Short coverings do happen, but you don't see short coverings happen in the tune of 150%. This is unusual, as my colleague also said on your channel that in his entire career he hasn't seen stocks moving 150% in a single day. Although the hammering of the stock was also unnatural, and we've seen such a good asset being bite the dust within no time. But yes, if at all there is a resolution, one, it's going to be good for banks, especially SBI, which has a larger exposure to Jet Airways. It's going to be really good so that it can probably get some kind of a respite from the dying company. Number two, it was a good asset, and undoubtedly they still have routes, they still have some good planes which can be used. So if at all this entire asset can be taken over by any Indian or a foreign company, or some kind of a resolution can come in place, I think that it would be good for the company. Most probably we can see Jet Airways coming back to maybe 100 odd and would be trading at least nearer to its peers like SpiceJet.
Understood. Vijay, thanks for coming in today, Vijay, and sharing your views on the market as always. Chandan, weekly expiry of course played out today. One more week to go before the monthly expiry comes in. What's the setup? Do you think the trend has reversed in the near term, or we can expect some bit of weakness to resume from tomorrow onwards?
Yeah, after the decline of last couple of days, the market has finally respected to its multiple support of 11,650 zone, and that is also the 50-day exponential moving average for the counter. And it seems that again, the way market has taken support, it has potential to again hit towards 11,929, 11,960 zone. So the lower top, lower bottom formation is negated with support of 50-day exponential moving average. So as of now, the way put writing is happening with lower volatility index indicates some sort of more recovery of 100, 150 points cannot be ruled out going forward.
Right, a recovery of 100 to 150 points cannot be ruled out going forward. Amit, similar question to you. We were discussing how important it is to close above 820, 830 on the Nifty. We have done that today, but like you said, you would like to see a couple of more sessions of that happening before the trend can really reverse. What's the sense? How would you approach trade for tomorrow?
Right. So yeah, I mean today's momentum was quite strong and it did convincingly close above 840. So I would watch out for next few sessions, how it behaves. So, see, the falling trend line from the top is somewhere near 11,870, 880 kind of a zone. If actually it sustains above that, closes above that for a couple of days, then I would actually say that probably we have seen the lows near 11,620 kind of a zone, and probably the uptrend should resume again back. I was of an opinion that probably we are in the range between 11,600 on the downside and 11,800, but now that we have convincingly moved about that, I just want to see how far it sustains above 11,870, 11,880. If it does that, then yes, probably we have seen the lows.
All right, Amit, thanks very much for joining in, sharing your perspective. A very, very action-packed last hour of trade is what we have seen play out. Like Amit pointed out, we've closed out above the 11,800 mark quite convincingly. 11,830 is where we seem to have shut shop, and definitely seeing a very strong move on the bank Nifty also. Close out higher by about 400 points in today's trading day. The question is, of course, whether or not we will be able to sustain at these levels. We've seen a fair amount of weakness play out for the market in the last 4 to 5 sessions. But that said, the rally was fairly broad-based. Small caps closing out higher by 1%, mid caps also closing out higher by 1.5%, so an outperformance coming in. Then a whole host of beaten down stocks that have come under pressure in the last week or so bounced back very, very smartly in today's trading day. Jet Airways, of course, is the standout. A 122% rally is what we closed out with the bulk of that really playing out in the last few minutes of trade. A big spike is what we've closed out with as far as Jet Airways is concerned. But for the moment, completely out of time on this edition of Closing Bets from the entire team here. Thanks very much for watching.